See everyone. Y'all got quiet quick. But again, first off, I would like to welcome all of our new recruits to being part of our family here at Florida State. We see ourselves as a family, and we think we added to our family today quite well in a lot of regards, not just as far as football players, but as far as high character, quality young men who are interested in getting a great education and also can play a little ball. But very happy with the group we got. Very proud of our coaches. I think our coaches did an outstanding job building these relationships. A lot of these relationships were 2-, 3-, and 4-year relationships. Spent a lot of time, a lot of hard-fought battles. Very unique group, and if you go back and look at this class, it was 25 signees, 13 kids from the state of Florida, but we signed kids from 10 different states. So I mean, I think the brand of Florida State, being able to be out there and people being very interested in being part of our culture and what we do here and our winning traditions and our championship traditions, I think speaks for itself. But also, great job by coaches when you sign guys outside of your normal home base areas to build and the high quality of players in which we were able to do that. That's a very hard thing to do consistently, and I think our coaches did a tremendous job in what they did, and also the support staff and the people here once they came on the visits. I think everyone here, we got a lot of great feedback from the high quality people that everyone had to deal with here. Had nothing to do with coaches or myself, that we're just the support staff in every way, shape, and form. And like I say, everybody who has a part in Florida State has a part in this program that affects our program, and they guys did a great job in that regard. And most importantly, our players. Our players did a tremendous job of hosting kids and showing them, everyone come back today, they felt very comfortable around our players, even the star players. They were nervous and said, I didn't know how to be around guys such as Dalvin Cook and DeMarcus Walker and guys that have such a big name. You worry, and they said, Coach, they were just normal, good old guys just like us. And our players understood the importance of recruiting and how many young players have an impact in your program, just like a lot of them did when they came in. And I think they're passing that down, making these guys feel very comfortable in visits and letting them know that there's a great family atmosphere here, and that everyone here will take care of you in a great regard and help you in all phases in development as a person, a student, as a player. And we're just extremely excited about it. We feel like the guys that we evaluated, that we were very comfortable with the guys that we were able to get, and are the guys we wanted. And like you said, everybody said, well, did you get everybody? You don't ever get everybody you recruit. But I don't worry about those. I worry about the ones we've gotten, and we've gotten a great group of guys and a great group of players. So we're excited about the future, and hopefully in time we'll see how things turn out. We got to keep developing players, and our coaches do a great job of that. As some of our highest draft picks and things that have went on have came from some of our even lower ranked guys. So not only are our high ranked guys are panning out also. So I think it's a great job, our testament to our staff and how they're developing these guys once they get here and in all phases. So very proud of this group. Questions?
When you think about coming into this morning, some of the guys you're able to get, what's your thought process as a coach and as a coaching staff? Do you say, okay, maybe we're going to get these guys? Is it a kind of a wait and see like fans, or what is it?
It all depends. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you got a really good feeling. Sometimes you do know. You think, I know we're going to get this guy. Sometimes it's just there's no set way. I wish there was. Every year I'd sleep a lot better and know what was coming next year. But it's just how that relationship is cultured and where each individual has himself at that particular time when he's making a decision. Because all of them, the thing about all this, and we all sometimes get frustrated and we all criticize the kids about how they go about making decisions. Well, they're 17 years old, 18 years old. They've never made a decision most of the time of this magnitude. And it's not they don't know how to make it. It's not when it's time to make a decision, but the process about going about making a decision, it's like studying for a test. How do I study for a test? They say, well, study. Well, how do I study? There's an art to study. There's an art to doing this too, and sometimes they don't know. So each year, to answer your question, each year it's back and forth, and you got to play it by ear on how each one goes. Sometimes, and you go in sometimes thinking, well, it's a decision, but that is about a 10, 15, 20% chance. You know what I mean? You know, but greater things happen.
Jimbo, what was the genesis or what unfolded to get Shavar Manuel here?
Always was wanted here. See, that's the thing that, when he first came up here before, he was, he loved Florida State back in the spring and in the couple years before. He was a big Florida State fan and felt very comfortable here. And I didn't know why he flipped to Florida, and we called and said, hey, is this thing over? He said, no, Coach, I want you to keep recruiting me. So we just kept recruiting him normally, and you end up flipping over. I mean, it was no magical formula, just relationships, and sometimes guys commit to other places and flip back. I mean, you know, again, it's back and forth. Just kept going.
Jimbo, I'm sure you enjoyed some of the stress-free signing days when everything's really done. There's really aren't too many guys left on the board, but does it also add an intriguing element when you do have 4 or 5 guys where you feel confident about, but you're not going to know until signing day?
Yeah, I mean, well, depending on which side that if you feel like you're going to get them or you're not going to get them. I mean, it goes that way. For fans, I think it's fun, but, you know, recruiting's changed so much. And I think each year you may close them all next year, or they may all come. I mean, it just goes back and forth, but we had a good feeling on, I had a good feeling on most of the guys I felt today went about like I thought it would go. And when you do know that, and it works out that way, it's a great deal.
Jimbo, how big is momentum? I mean, obviously in games it is, but momentum, I want to bring up Keith Gavin, for instance, because he committed late last week to you guys, and it seemed like from then you kind of steamrolled. Does that have an effect in recruiting?
There's no doubt. Momentum is like you do in a game. And I think because, I think one of the reasons now even more so is the kids know each other so well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, back in the day, I mean, even when that happened, kids say, well, okay, that guy's coming. Oh, he'd never talked to him, knew who you still never got to meet him until you came to campus. But now these kids are in the All-American games together. They're in camps together. They're in recruiting visits together. They know it, and then they can talk by social media or by the phone. That is critical because, hey, there he goes. And I know him. I want to play with him. And I think it's even more of a factor now than it's ever been.
But when you have a guy like Manuel who you thought was committed and then went to Florida.
Well, one time, there was a couple times we thought he was going to be committed to us.
That's what I mean.
Even earlier than that, and then he went to Florida and said, "Dad, gone." I mean, you know, it was a back and forth thing.
And Gavin, who was committed, decommitted. When those guys, you obviously don't give up. What do you do? Do you even pay attention to that, or do you just continue?
No, I do.
And
Listen, are you? I'm not. We don't go recruit guys unless they say we're totally open. And what I mean by that, I say if you committed and said, you know, I'm going to Kent State. I mean, I'm just using it for example. And I said, all right, Tom, would you know, hey, I appreciate you going there. If this is final, okay, we'll leave you alone. But are you still open? Is this a final deal, or would you like us to check back with you in a month and say I've had it like that? And then, all of a sudden they'll call back and say, hey, coach, I'm not sure I want you to keep recruiting me. You know what I'm saying? So I leave it up to them. I don't like going chasing guys, just pounding on guys that are recruited. I don't think it's good for them. I don't think it's good for us. And some of those guys said we're still open.
So you got the feeling.
And even guys who committed to us said that about people. That's why people kept recruiting them.
So from Gavin, you knew even though he decommitted, he was still wide open.
Well, I knew we had a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it wasn't done because he hadn't committed anywhere else,
Right.
and we were still going at it. Yes.
Jimbo, is Andrew Baselli going to be a little bit of a project? I think he's changed positions a little bit, or
No,
what do
I
you
don't think so.
expect out of him?
I think he's a really good player. I think he's got great understanding of the game, great physical skills. He can bend. He can be a center. He can be a guard. He can be an interior guy. I wouldn't recruit. I wouldn't. Project is something we wouldn't recruit good football players. I think he's a heck of a player.
And one other thing, you went to Washington, D.C. area again for another kid. When did you start paying attention to that Mid-Atlantic area, Washington, Maryland? I know you always got some kids out of Virginia, but what started that ball rolling with?
I think the quality of football that's there. And our conference, remember something, we go up the whole East Coast. So we go that way to play games. That's going back home for these kids. So, I mean, they come to Florida State. They recognize with our league as much as they do any league in college football because that's really the home area where we play up and down the East Coast. So, I mean, to be in the ACC and then, we've been winning the most games in the ACC and been the team in the ACC. So, they want to be part of that. And they get to be in warm weather here and then to go back that way and play ball. And in their home area, whether it's covered extensively by the hometown papers and all that stuff. So, and you look at that whole area there has top-notch football. I mean, it's great. So, it makes sense to get in there.
Jimbo, what were the goals for this class, and how do you think you accomplished that today?
We needed things across the board. We needed depth in the offensive line. We needed depth at linebacker. We wanted some front guys. Wanted corners. Needed corners in this class for sure. Got that. We wanted, didn't lead a lot of receivers, but wanted a difference maker. Got that. We feel the backs, difference maker. Great quarterback. We felt we had to have a quarterback. Tight end. I mean, we had to have it across the board, but certain areas we needed more depth. And I thought we met our needs.
So going back to what you're saying about the offensive line, I mean, you look at today.
And kickers. And punters.
Look at today. Of course, number one center, number one guard, and of course Mike Arnold being just the number one overall prospect. A, how pleased are you with where this line is going, and B, how do you describe how it all came together?
Well, I mean, we were honest. We went out there and actively went at guys, and like I say, in our approach, we're very honest in recruiting. We're very straightforward. We're very honest, and kids like that. We had a lot of those guys in camp at different times, and they did an outstanding job, and they do. And Coach Trick has produced a lot of great linemen in the past, and we would put a lot of guys out, so they were comfortable with what we did, and we run a pro system.
It's one of your better offensive line class, at least on paper before you see
At least on paper, yes. I hope it pans out, which I think it will. Obviously, we wouldn't have recruited the guys, but I think it's a tremendous haul. I really do.
Jimbo, I was reading a story about a new group of 5 coach that said one of his first meetings was about coming up with a Twitter hashtag and how they would use Twitter for recruiting. You guys don't use a ton of that.
I don't even have one.
Do you see as what you guys do as maybe old school recruiting, or just kind of the way?
Yeah, it's called
how
personal
supposed to be?
relationships. At the end of the day, this thing's about relationships. It's about trust. We communicate through social media a lot, and there's no doubt. But at the end of the day, you got to have conversation. You got to see people face to face. You got to look them in the eye to know. And I mean, like I said, we'll communicate all those different ways. But at the end of the day, it's about trust, and you got to sit down and have a conversation, hear a guy's voice, look him in the eye, shake his hand, and ask him questions about what he wants. You tell him where you're at with that thing, and I think at the end of the day, that's still what it's about.
I guess it's a bit of a revisionist history. Those coaches are trying to get their programs to where you are now. But say Twitter and social media was as prevalent as when you first became head coach, or do you think you guys might have been a little bit more involved using someone else?
I wouldn't. I mean, I just think the personal touch to things is the best way to do it. You want something done, do it yourself. You want something done, and you want to get somebody, sit down with them and talk to them. I think that's part of our problem in this world. We don't have enough conversation. We don't look at we're too social media driven. I really do. And I think it's part of the problems of this world. Because it's easy to say stuff, do stuff, and hide behind stuff, behind an account that, you got to look people in the eye. Because you can't tell if they're lying on. How they say words on an account isn't, to me, going to build a bond. It's when you look them in the eye and you can tell people and read people.
What made Gabe Neighbors just an appealing guy that you wanted to add to your team?
I loved him in camp, always have. I saw a guy that's 6'3", 240 pounds. They can run under 4'7", they can bend, they can play multiple positions. That is, when you watch him on film, he is a football player. He can play defense, he can play offense, he can catch the ball, he can play multiple positions. He's physical, he likes the game, he hustles, he lives, eats, and breathes everything about football. Loved him in camp from the get-go, just like I told his mom. He's going to be in this class. Just give me some. I'll just wait till I do it.
Your staff seems to really kind of buy into the idea of teamwork and recruiting. Everybody's high-fiving and fist-pumping and all that. Is that unique? Every staff you've been a part of?
I think they have, but the way we don't, everybody says, well, the offensive line coach recruited every guy. That's not true. We don't recruit by position. A position coach gets involved, but the area coach, where that kid is from, is the main recruiter in that deal. Now, how he orchestrates that with, now you bring in the position coach, now you bring in a coordinator, now you bring in the head coach. Or sometimes you may do it yourself if that's the relationship. All that is, we don't say all the D linemen are recruited by Odell is not true. All the O linemen by Trick is not true. All the running backs by Jay is not true. All the DBs by Charlie is not. They are involved extensively. But if they're not in their areas, they're not the main recruiters on those guys. I don't believe in that. I think if you can't recruit another position as a coach, probably shouldn't be in this game.
Did that today satisfying for some of those guys to see the work that they put in there?
But we do collect, but say, yes, I think very much so. But at the same time, when you put all those guys into it, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a staff to recruit a player. Because it's not just one guy doing it. The whole staff recruits the players. And how we set the trend, and how we set up the visits here, and how our secretaries, and how Bob Lasavita and all the guys on campus here organize things, how they structure things, how the weight room does, how the training room does. Everybody is involved in that. I mean, and I can't say enough about, we get so caught up with so-and-so. No, they didn't. Everybody recruited those guys. Everybody in the organization. And that's the only way you're going to do it.
Jimbo, was there something different about this recruiting cycle that you had so many kids decide on the last day? I mean, usually you're locked and loaded by
Mars, Pluto, Venus, and Saturn must have all been lined up. I mean,
There
I
was
joke
nothing
about that because
intentional.
it's just, no, it wasn't intentional, it's just the way it fell out. And I think part of it is, too, you had 10 different states represented. Sometimes you had guys that are farther away, you know what I'm saying? So they don't get down as much, they're still taking visits, still seeing things. I think sometimes that has a lot to do with it. Or depending how much they can get down here. It just depends. and those cycles sometimes.
Was it fun for the head coach to have a day like today?
Very fun. I mean, because you saw our program get better. You saw the guys in which we wanted. You saw a lot of assistant coaches, blood, sweat, and tears, as I say, and a lot of hours pay off, and it's very rewarding that way.
Jimbo, you had 6 guys publicly commit today that weren't committed going into today. You had maybe a couple losses. In terms of your ability to close and what you've experienced those signings, how does this stack up to some of your other, just in terms of the closing on signing day?
Well, I mean, closing goes back to, like I said before, going in knowing you got them or not. Everybody says you close at the end. You don't close at the end. What you're doing is building toward that closing. You know what I'm saying? And that happens in November, December, and January. I mean, all the closing goes back, what percentage you got in those, and are you gaining ground at those times? I mean, you know, there is no miraculous formula at the end. You go in and you give them some magical talk, and all of a sudden they jump in the boat. Old days, you may have done that more because, in my opinion, you had less interaction and you had less communication, less guys to your campus than you do now because of knowledge of social media, communication, all those things. Closing is the accumulation of all the way up and where you put yourself at that time when you do it. And we had built to that relationship. We felt really good about those guys. Last year, we knew going in it wasn't going to be. It's just because we couldn't gain the ground in the earlier months that we needed to gain. I mean, I think we put too much emphasis on a close. A close, when you close well, is when November, December, January, and all those months have built up to that close.
So you knew months going in this was going to be a solid close, not just...
We felt very good about it. But there was a couple, now sometimes you'll go in that last 2 or 3 weeks and you're right on that, which way is this young man going to go? You know what I'm saying? And you win some, you lose some.
Was there one that was the most pleasant surprise to you? One or two of them?
No, all of them. I mean, there's no one in particular.
And you got an awful lot of beef on both sides of the line. Was there a concerted effort to get bigger?
Well, and it's like anything. When you get a chance to get those guys, you better jump all over them. Because high-quality offensive and defensive linemen are hard to find. And when you can get, when you take as many as you can get, because the attrition of injuries, the attrition of, sometimes they're just not there. And they may be there next year and you guys have them rated. I say you guys, I mean the ranking, the people have them rated. But at the same time, they still may not be the quality of the guys that were the year before. The crop the year before may not have, there may have been 20 quality ones in this one, and next year there may only really be 5. Now everybody will have them rated up there, but there may only be 5. This was, in my opinion, there's a lot of high quality guys, and we took as many as we get.
When you talk about rankings, I mean, consensus across the board is your number 2. Do you take much stock into that? Do you care about rankings, or is it one of those things where you guys do pay attention?
I mean, people know. We know where we're at. I mean, we hear it, but it doesn't matter. I want to rank the classes after they leave. That's what I'm worried about. What they accomplished, what they did, how we won, and how they developed as people, students, and players. I mean, I don't. I mean, that's all there, and we know about it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I disagree with a lot of the rankings. I agree with a lot. I disagree with a lot. I guess that's what makes the world go. Because you know, at the end of the day, you know what it is? Opinion. At the end of the day, it's how you see it, and then how a guy may fit into your program as compared to another program. He may be a better fit there, may be a higher quality player. So I mean, all those things are very subjective in a lot of ways, but they make it fun.
How exciting does it get you to get these players in when you hear them saying, "I'm ready to compete for a spot," not saying that they think they're going to have a spot?
Music to my ears. So at the end of the day, ain't nobody guaranteeing anybody to play. I never have, never will, and anybody who does as a coach is a liar. Because you don't know how the guy's going to react, and it's unfair to the guys you have on the team. You will have one heck of an opportunity. I think you'll have that. But you better be ready to compete. Because guess what? Well, I want to play in the NFL, so you think you're going up there and not compete? Maybe I'll learn it at a younger age. Be ready to do it from the get-go.
Jimbo, you brought in some really good ones, obviously. Where does Levonta Taylor rack up as far as DBs that you've signed?
Well, when you think his skill set's very unique. He's not a big guy, but you would know it. He plays with a tremendous amount of instinct and knowledge and wisdom, and then a toughness and a tenacity when you watch him play. You know what I mean? He has some skill sets, and then he's a great return guy, great ball skill guy, and great confidence, which I think is incredibly important to play out there on the edge like that. So I think he's got a chance to be a really good player.
Jimbo, speaking of Levonta, you've had some great recruiters as recruits. Derwin comes to mind, Carlos, but where does Levonta...
He's up there now. He, when he gets done, we have to give him a job. He does. Because, I mean, and why I think guys gravitate to him, they see his passion to play. And then they see him play. They see how skilled he is, but what it means, and you say, you know something, I want that guy on my team. I want to play with that guy. And I think that's part of his, it's just, every bit of him loves ball. And he wants teammates, and I want as many good players. I don't care who we get, I'll compete with anybody. He knows it takes that, and he's very unique.
Do you encourage guys that are part of your class to do that? To keep?
I do. If you feel comfortable with it and you know them, why not? Why? Because you're part of our family. We're all for one. It takes everybody to get put together a class.
Seems like with Jalen, Levante, and even Derwin, do you ever sense when those guys have that and you want those guys because of that?
Oh yeah, no doubt. A lot of those guys, because they have a certain charisma about them and leadership qualities. You can't find enough of those in a team either.
Jimbo, how do you feel about maybe the direction of recruiting? I'm not to single out any teams, but coaches have been doing sleepovers, 18-footers have been coming through.
More power to them. Just stay within the rules. We stay within the rules. That's great. I mean, whatever you got to do to you feel like your program, and that's what makes it sales. Whatever sells, just so you do it legally. Don't break rules. I mean, that's their business. We're going to do things our way. They do them their way. There's nothing wrong with that.
Jimbo, with as much as recruiting's new school with some new tactics and stuff, how much of it is still winning the family over as
It's all
much as
relationships. It's about still, at the end of the day, when they want to go, if they go stay all night like you said or do that, they still got to sit in that house and talk to them. It's still about developing a relationship. It's still about eye-to-eye contact. It's still a people-related, people-person. At the end of the day, not about the bricks, the buildings, and everything else. It's about the relationships of the people. And what gimmick you do, eventually you got to sit down and build a relationship.
Randy, you guys got your own stuff going on, but do you guys as coaching staff ever pay attention to maybe what's going on with other people, their signing classes, who other teams are getting, or is it really just focusing on you?
No, they're not part of us. I mean, you're sitting there and you're bored between things, you're watching TV, and we're not evaluating the junior, which we're calling juniors and evaluating juniors and sophomores, and we have been forever and ever, you know. If you get a minute, you'll see what's going on, but hey, but at the end of the day, you got to worry about your own.
One more. Jim, if I'm counting up the numbers right, it looks like an offensive line you should, going into the fall, have 19 guys on scholarship, which
I think it was 18.
Maybe I'm off the number.
I'll look at 18. I want to carry 18. That's what I want to carry.
Yeah, because you've never come close to that since you've been. What does that do for you to have those kind of numbers for
The ability to practice. The ability to develop other skill, as crazy as it sounds, skill guys on your team that have high quality people in front of them in a practice, and how you practice so you can get things done, and then not wear your other guys out, and develop guys and build a rotation. It's going to develop the whole football team when you have those guys. Because sometimes you say all these skill guys, and you got 10 or 11 linemen, that's great, but then you're getting to work in these other, they got to take reps, and then when these other young skill guys get in the game, and it's like a jailbreak on them, and they can't play, they can't develop. It's extremely critical, not only for line development and rest, but skill development.
All right, we good?
Anybody else?